we'll now get started. So you've all turned in your essay, right? Anybody hasn't turned in their essay? Okay, great. Okay, everybody's turned in their essay. So now we're in the tear off thing, where we tear off the cover page because we're only going to grade you based on whether you turned it in, not the quality and depth and character of your introspection. That'd be messed up and weird if we did that to you. We're not above that kind of weird stuff, but we're not doing it this time. We did that on breaching. We assessed, how much did you breach, but we're not going to do that here. So, and then I also have done my own assignment, and set that in there. Hide it. Okay, so I did my own. I did one of these as well, and like many of you, I was up until like 1:30 in the morning doing this because I put it off until the last minute, and I was like, why the heck did I promise I would do this, And especially nobody seemed to care. I was like, I'm going to do this assignment. It's like, whatever. Good for you. But I did do the assignment. Okay, but I did do the assignment. I found it very interesting. We're not going to talk yet about what the purpose of the assignment is. Can you all stop talking there? Thank you. We're not going to talk yet about what the purpose of the assignment is. We're going to have a whole lecture on a phenomenon known as immune neglect. And there's a whole section of the Timothy Wilson book, Strangers to Ourselves, that also discusses the pen and paper essay exercise and what its purpose is, what its benefits are, and so on. And then today, I'm going to give you a follow-up assignment that's essentially part 2 of the pen and paper essay assignment, and you'll do that, and it'll be due in a week. And it's no harder, so there's no need to groan or be upset. It is exactly like what you did today. And the reason that I assigned this is that I want there to be this sort of didactic aspect of the class where you learn something through application to your life, where you learn some of the principles in the class and how to apply them to your everyday life. That's something we did with taking the perspective of the other, which we illustrated through the 2 conflict essay exercise. Something we did with breaching, and now that's something we're doing with the pen and paper essay exercise, trying to illustrate the possibly therapeutic, mental, and even physical health benefits of introspection. But like I said, I'm not going to go into that in a great deal of detail now. We're going to finish the exercise, and then we'll cover it in lecture. Well, actually, I guess we'll start covering immune neglect on Thursday. Okay, so where last we met and to discuss social psychology, we were talking about automaticity. And automaticity is an area of research which is really blown up in social psychology, and specifically in psychology, over the last 10, 15 years. And it's an area that is aligned again. I'm just going to do this. I'm just going to press buttons for a while here. It's aligned against the Cartesian view of human rationality, the Cartesian view of the mind, which says that we think rationally, that our thinking is deliberate and controlled and conscious and logical, and that's a pretty silly set of ideas. And what we found is a variety of researchers, such as Nisbet and Wilson, but also our own Berkeley graduate Sam Gosling, have been doing a lot of research on the limitations of introspection and the limitations of conscious controlled thought, showing that not only is it the case that we have limited access, limited understanding of the real causes of our behaviors, but furthermore, these behaviors are going on, or the causes of them are going on outside of our awareness, outside of consciousness. It's not just that we unreliably report the causes of our behavior, it's that they never even really happened in consciousness. So the biggest person associated with automaticity is this researcher, John Barch, who is a very smart social psychologist at NYU, who was a mentor to a whole generation of social psychologists who wanted to be on the cutting edge of this research. And one of those social psychologists is our own Serena Chen here in the psychology department, whose social psychology class is outstanding. I would highly advise you take it if you haven't already. John Barch, psychology professor at NYU, leading figure associated with automaticity, and the key factors of what automaticity is, what automatic thinking is, that it's automatic. Don't use the word in the definition unless you're a professor, in which case you're allowed to do anything you want with it. That it's non-conscious, that you're unaware of the thought processes, and that it's effortless. It's also, I guess I don't say it here, but it's also fast. And people often refer to automatic non-conscious thinking as fast, cheap, and out of control, like the Errol Morris documentary, in that it's a type of cognitive processing and thinking that happens really quickly. It doesn't require much cognitive resources. You can do it all day without becoming tired, unlike conscious control thinking. And it's outside your control, it's outside of your awareness. You don't know that you're doing it, and you can't direct it. If you try to stop yourself from having some kind of reflex or instinctual behavior in some setting, it's very difficult. You have a limited capacity to regulate your non-conscious processes with your conscious self. So let's see here. Okay, one of the things we talked about Barge, Chen, and Burroughs 96, which had 3 kind of stunning demonstrations of the extent and strength of automatic effects, of priming effects, showing that you can prime constructs like the concept of the elderly or the concept of rudeness, and people actually walk slower or behave more rudely. And then we talked about, well, how far can you push this? And we talked about Dijksterhuis. Half of you weren't here last time, just think I'm insane. We talked about Dijksterhuis and von Nippenberg, who did a series of studies that really pushed these priming effects even further, I would argue. And Dijksterhuis and von Nippenberg showed that if you prime people with the concept of professors, they actually answer more trivial pursuit questions right. Almost as though they got more knowledgeable or better, or increased their memories, or somehow were more motivated or better able to access their memory, which is a bizarre and amazing result. Let's see here. Where's Wernicke again? Okay, good. We're all agreed on that now. Okay, then we talked about self-esteem priming, which showed that you can subconsciously prime people with the words I and good, or, well, the Dutch equivalent of those, and their self-esteem will actually increase for some period of time afterwards, because you conditioned an automatic association between the self and positivity, which is essentially what implicit self-esteem is that automatic association and its strength. And then where last we left off, we were looking at yet another study that tries to push the boundaries of these effects, tries to push the unconscious thought, unconscious decision-making bar even a step higher. And this research asks the question, I'll tell you what, this asks the question, how good is non-conscious thought? I've shown you all these things where, with little subtle primes that are maybe inside of your awareness or outside your awareness, that are either subliminal or superliminal, that these little primes can affect your behavior in interesting ways. And I even showed you research showing they can increase your inherent mental capacities, making you more knowledgeable or more successful on trivial pursuit. But how far can this go? What about the kinds of things we think of as sort of rational, reasoned decision-making processes? Is it the case that there's a substantial non-conscious component to these decision-making, these rational decision-making processes? And is it the case that maybe under certain circumstances, we're better off relying on our non-conscious reasoning faculties? Maybe they're superior under certain circumstances to our conscious reasoning. And that's something that Dijksterhuis was interested in 2003. I'm going to keep doing that. Okay, so what Dijksterhuis did was he presented participants, these were Dutch participants, with information on 4 hypothetical apartments. He was thinking, well, what is a conscious, reasoned, logical, what's the epitome of a decision that college-age people are making that they think is something that's best done consciously, that they think they do totally consciously, logically, and rationally, and reason this out. He said, well, going into a new apartment. When you go into an apartment, you go out and you sort of assess a few options, and then you weigh the cost and, cost and benefits, and you say, all right, I'm going to go to that apartment because it's closer and the rent's lower, even though I have to live with a very, very scary person to live there. These are the decisions we make all the time in Berkeley, right? So, or anywhere. So apparently they make the same decisions in the Netherlands. So what he's interested in is to what extent would non-conscious thought make these decisions better? And this is how he approached that. He presented participants with information on 4 hypothetical apartments, and each apartment had 12 attributes. So, its rent, how well kept up it was, were utilities included, would you have to have a roommate, how many rooms, if you think about it, there's at least 12 bits of information that you get on most apartments before you make the decision to choose it or not, right? And these attributes were presented in random order on the computer screen for 4 seconds each. So there's, 4 times 12 attributes that are presented on the screen, and it would say, apartment B, $650 a month. Well, that would be nice. Apartment B, like $900 a month, or something like that. And apartment D, this many square feet, and this many rooms, and so on. It would appear on screen for 4 seconds, and then it goes away and a new one pops up, and that goes away and a new one pops up 48 times. Now, if you think about it, that's pretty tough, right? I mean, that would be a pretty tough task to try to figure out what's your favorite or what's the best apartment, right? It's just you're getting hit a lot of information. But Dexter House reason this is actually not that different than your actual apartment buying scenario, right? You show up at the apartment, you look at it, you've got maybe 5 bits of information in your head from Craigslist, you gather more information from looking at it, you're trying to weigh all the time, how did I feel in the other place, how much did it cost, how much does, paint being a little bit fresher here, is that worth, $40 in rent a month, you're trying to weigh all this stuff. And it's very complicated. That's a very typical decision-making scenario. Maybe some of you remember when you decided what college to go to. You had very similar. Well, no, actually, it was a very easy decision for all of you because you grew at Berkeley, and that's the best university in the world. So, okay. Bad example. Maybe there was some other decision. It was very difficult for you. Certainly not your decision to come here. So, they rigged the game so that apartment 2 was the best apartment. It was superior on, 7 or so criteria, and the criteria were preset. The ones that were superior on were pre-established to be ones that really resonated with these students. And so, on pre-testing, everybody was like, when they could carefully look at it in a spreadsheet and stare at it as long as they wanted, they were like, yeah, apartment 1 is the best. It's the cheapest, it's the biggest, etc. So they rigged it so apartment 1 was the best. And they also rigged it so that 4 was the worst. With 4, it costs, like $1,200 a month, it's really far from campus, and your roommate, is an axe murderer or something like that. So then apartments 1 and 3 were rigged to be, somewhere in the middle and about equal. And again, they tested this by showing it to some people ahead of time, said, okay, take as long as you want to look at this, you look at all the information, you look at it 10 times, and you make a call with, which one's the best, which one's the worst, and so on. And that confirmed their intuitions that they had successfully rigged apartment 2 to be the best one, and 4 to be the worst one. So they then had the participants in the study rate each apartment's desirability on a 1 to 10 scale after getting these 48 pieces of information about the 4 apartments. And there were 3 conditions in the study. You're probably at this point like, wait, what's the experiment? There's no experiment. There's no manipulation or independent variable. Well, here was the manipulation of the independent variable. 3 conditions. In one condition, they had to give the 1 to 10 ratings of the desirability of the 4 apartments immediately after the presentation of the 48 bits of information. So you're just being flashed, the 48 bits of information, 4 seconds each, and then it's over, and they're like, okay, give your 1 to 10 ratings right now. And you don't have any time to think about it at all. In the second condition, you're allowed to think. It's a conscious thought condition. You're given 3 minutes to consider what you want to say, what kind of ratings you want to give for these 4 apartments. So in this one, you'd expect you would do better, right? You have all this time to think about it. Then they had another condition that was an unconscious thought condition. And in this condition, you're given 3 minutes to think about it, but you're given 3 minutes for your non-conscious to think about it. You're actually consciously totally distracted by a heavily taxing task that you do for 3 minutes after getting all this information about the apartments. And that task is a 2-back task, which is something you're all familiar with because it's a very fun game to play. And so anyway, so the 2-back task, how does that work? The 2-back task, it totally taxes your conscious reasoning. The way it works is you're shown a series of numbers, 0 to 10 or 0 to 9 single-digit numbers, and they're in a series, and you have to indicate if the one that you're seeing is the same as the one that was 2-back in the sequence, and so you press yes or no. It's pretty hard. They have even harder ones like the 3-back task or the dreaded 4-back task. And no one has ever survived that game. But the 2-back task is pretty tough because you have to be like, okay, that was 7, and then it was 3, and then that's 7, yes. That's 4, no. That isn't 3, and then that's another 7, yes. Then that's 3, I have no idea, I lost it already. And people mess it up, and they try very hard to do well, and it's very challenging. So in the 2-back task, you play this for 3 minutes, and you really can't dedicate any conscious thought to the task at hand. You really can't dedicate any conscious thought to what's the best apartment. You've been fully distracted consciously, but presumably your non-conscious is still allowed to process this information. So what are the results? Well, what do you think the results would be? Which condition out of these 3 do you think they would be most accurate in assessing the quality of the apartments? The first one, the immediate decision one, the snap decision. And that's sort of the punchline from Blink, right? From Malcolm Gladwell's Blink. It's that in lots and lots of circumstances, it's the immediate, just your immediate initial reaction, your reaction to that thin slice of the videotape, that gives you maybe your best answer in some domains, or gives you most of the information you'll ever use. Anybody else have a different prediction? Okay, so some people say the third one. Yes, all right, well, let's see who's right. Okay, so here's how they did it. They took your ratings of the best apartment and the worst apartment and subtracted them. They made a different score. They threw out the 2 in the middle and then subtracted your 1 to 10 rating of the one that we know is the best one they subtracted the 1 to 10 rating of the one we know is the worst one from the one we know is the best one. And that's essentially a measure of how much higher did you rate the one that we know is the best than the one we know is the worst. And you would want that number to be higher if you're going to be accurate, right? You should be able to identify which one's the best. So the different scores, in general, people didn't do that good a job. It's a really, really tough task. You're given 48 bits of information, in a pretty short period of time, in like 3 minutes or so, and people didn't do very well. Their different scores were above 0, which they ought to be. If they had no ability to do this task, they'd be at 0. But they had some ability to do the task, and so they're a little bit above 0. And in the immediate decision and conscious thought conditions, they did about the same. Not very well, but about the same. Basically, giving an answer immediately, it was just as accurate as having 3 minutes to think about it. Which is kind of interesting, right? That, given extra time for conscious thought, they didn't actually improve in their answers. But in the unconscious thought condition, the participants did much better. They actually, the difference score was more or less 3 times the size of here. It was a highly significant difference, very big effect size. Subjects in the third condition, where they're given 3 minutes to think about it, but not think about it in the sense of that we think of when we think of thinking. Not like that, but like thinking, like not thinking, but just thinking. So unconscious thinking, where you're fully distracted, and the only way you can think about it is processing somewhere in the back of your mind, your non-conscious realms and reaches of your brain. Okay, and then they replicated that in a study 2. They found again that unconscious thought condition led to the best decisions. So, what's the conclusion from this study? Well, for certain kinds of decisions and evaluations, unconscious thinking is better than no thinking or snap judgment thinking or conscious thinking. And for some reason, they were able to better puzzle out the right answer or better approximate the right answer when their conscious thought didn't get in the way. And why is this? Well, possibly because in your conscious thought, you latch on to certain variables. You attach great significance to, and you reason through, and you try to make a reasoned answer. But you can't hold all 48 bits of information in your brain at once. And that's something that your non-conscious thought is very good at doing. When your non-conscious is absorbing thousands of bits of information in this, this very moment, stimulus from your environment, things you're hearing, things you're seeing. Your non-conscious thought is terrific with like lots and lots of information that's presented very briefly. Your conscious brain is very bad at this. Consciousness handles that sort of information presentation very badly. So in a sense, this task is tailored perfectly for the non-conscious to do better than the conscious. What was more of a revelation about this study wasn't so much that there's certain kinds of tasks where consciousness gets in the way, that there's certain kinds of tasks that are tailored for non-conscious thinking. What was more a revelation of this study was that non-conscious thinking would improve given time. Because we usually think of non-conscious thought as, fast, cheap, and out of control. If you're going to get a good non-conscious thought, it's going to happen quickly, like the thin slices research, right? Where you make that judgment about somebody in that first couple seconds, and you don't change it that much after that. That the snap judgment, is as good as subsequent non-conscious reasoning would be. What was a revelation about this study was that, for whatever reason, 3 more minutes helped them make a better decision. Perhaps just because of the total amount of data that was fed into their brains. So one takeaway from this is for important or complex decisions in life, it might be best to sleep on it. And this research has often been noted as an example of the sleep on it effect. That if you have to make some big decision, like where you want to go to graduate school, what job you want to take, what restaurant you want to have, big important decisions, do you want a burrito or do you want curry? You got to make these decisions, you got to make them right, and it might be best to think on that. Okay, to sleep on it, sorry. Questions? Hands, yes. Is this like that? Okay, so that's very interesting because we're going to talk about that. Okay, so the question is this like the how people will tell you go with your gut instinct on multiple choice tests, don't reason it through, don't go with like a later answer. This is very similar to that in that research suggests that's totally bogus advice, and you actually should go with your later thinking, not your like gut instinct. Given the choice, given that if you had equal kind of credibility invested in both choices, you'd be better off going with the thought you had later than the one you had right off. And we'll talk about, I think, Thursday, we're going to talk about research on that. So I'm so glad you brought that up. She's a plant. She's not really in this class. I placed her there. That's like, yes. Okay, yeah, so the larger question might be when is, deliberative, time-consuming, non-conscious thought better than conscious thought or snap decision-making? It's not entirely known. To a certain extent, the study was thought of as sort of like a discovery study, like an existence proof, that there would be certain conditions under which giving some time to non-conscious reasoning would lead to the best possible decision amongst the various ways you could think about things. And so it's not really known exactly what the boundaries of this effect are. But I'm going with your hunch as well, that most likely the boundaries that this study suggests anyway are for information where there's lots and lots of stimuli that's presented pretty quickly, and you have to try to hold it all in order to make the best decision. Under those conditions, consciousness will probably get in the way more than help, and your non-consciousness actually could use a little bit of time to make a better decision. Other questions? Yes? Yeah, well, this is why taking time and sleeping on a paper could lead to a better paper. It's something I do all the time, and it takes me forever to get my papers out, but like, I'll like say, okay, I want to sleep on that and think about that. And in a lot of ways, and there was this one like famous computer scientist who really espoused this idea. In a lot of ways, if you want to be really creative, you should manipulate this effect to your advantage. You should be aware of this effect. And what you want to do is foster the conditions of creativity by putting all this information in your mind and then sleeping on it for a little while, thinking about it. And what you'll find is that your creative ideas, these new ideas you have, will pop into consciousness. There's this novelist, Arthur Koestler, or Koestler, anyway. He wrote a book called Sleepwalkers, where he documented the discovery process of great scientists in history. And what he found was, it wasn't the picture people thought it was at all, where people would consciously reason things out, where somebody would say, oh, okay, so we know this about the law of gravity, then we know this about the speed of light, therefore, it directly implies the theory of relativity. That's not really how it happens. Instead, the way it tends to happen is it pops into consciousness. Scientists and philosophers would suddenly become aware of an insight that they had generated outside of awareness, and then they would try to justify and translate that into a piece of good science. But the actual discovery process is not one of conscious reasoning. Instead, it was more of sleepwalking into a great finding or a great discovery. Yeah. So why is it during the two-back task your unconscious isn't also occupied during the two-back task? Now, I would say it probably is a little bit. There probably is some non-conscious thought being dedicated to the two-back task, but not, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. You would think that at least some would be. But I think that the positive benefits of it totally impairing conscious thought overwhelm the slight impairing on non-conscious thought, if that makes sense. I think in some ways you look at the study as a study showing the detrimental effects of conscious reasoning in certain domains, not so much the superiority of non-conscious thought. Because technically they can also do non-conscious thought in the other condition. They're probably just truncating it with their conscious thought. Yes. Totally unknown. How much should you sleep in order to generate these better decisions? Or I don't know. You'd have to ask a sleep researcher. They know better than me. Yeah. In this case, they weren't even technically sleeping, right? They were just spending 3 minutes doing the very, very thrilling two-back task, which is different from sleep. But they suggest it implies the sleep-on effect. Okay, one more question, and we'll move on. There's one over here. Yes. Yeah. That's true. Yeah. Right. Okay. The point would be, the non-conscious processing is so powerful and handles so many bits of information, it may not be impressed with the two-back task. It's like, oh, I'm not impressed with the two-back task. I can easily handle this and make a correct department choice. So, have you guys ever seen that old Pumping Iron, that old documentary with Arnold Schwarzenegger in it and stuff? Man, that's like the most hilarious documentary. I think in the most inappropriate circumstances. There's this one point where he's like at some like media event with all the other guys that are in the Mr. Universe contest, and they're interviewing him, and they're like, Arnold, do you think you'll win? He's like, oh yes, I do not know why my competitors have even shown up. They've already finished second. It's so funny, man. That guy's my boss, and that's on webcast. So, okay, I won't be here on Thursday. So if you want to harness the sleep-on effect to your advantage, or the Arthur Koestler, I gotta look at how to pronounce that guy's name, sleepwalker effect to your advantage, and you're in an area, professional or academic domain where your creativity is, your bread and butter, then what you want to do is fill your brain, treat your brain like a garden, where you fill it with all the right ingredients, and then let things grow up, and then kind of cherry pick the good ideas that pop into consciousness, and have this mentality. And remember that some of the things that make creativity happen are stuffing all the right information in your head, getting new information in some area that you're trying to be creative in, getting some new angles and some new stuff, stuff it in your head, have productive conversations with people. That's really good for creativity as well, because it's like stuffing new information in your head. You coordinate yourself to other people's perspectives, and when you see things from multiple perspectives, you're more likely to be creative. What else can you do? You can, oh yeah, you can try to focus on the problem too. You can just be sure that when you go to bed or when you leave work, that the thing you're thinking about is the thing you're trying to make progress on. And this is why putting creative people in the same environment when others, they can start talking about their ideas with each other, can often be a very good way to create creativity, because you coordinate yourself to other people's perspectives, you're forced to think about the thing that you're thinking about, and it brings it to the front of your mind. So these are ways in which you can stimulate your mind to be more creative. Even though it would seem impossible to manipulate your non-conscious,